When it comes to budgeting, former President Barack Obama once said, "A budget is more than just a series of numbers on a page, it's an embodiment of our values." In my last video, we had a great conversation on debt repayment methods. We discussed the advantages and disadvantages of the debt snowball and the debt avalanche. Though many of us agreed that the debt snowball works best for most people, there were those of you who voiced your support for the debt avalanche. The discussion in the comments were truly enriching. One of the comments really got me thinking. There was a comment from a guy we'll call Austin. Austin mentioned that he had spending issues and experienced his difficulty sticking to a budget. I'd like to thank Austin for his honesty and bravery in mentioning that. It seems like Austin hasn't found a budget that he can stick to. So I set out to find a beginner-friendly budget that might work best for Austin and anyone else having trouble sticking to a budget. As a quick reminder, I'd like to see you help the channel along its debt-free journey by clicking the like button and helping us reach our goal of 50 likes. The 50-30-20 rule. In Austin's situation, this is where the 50-30-20 rule might be useful. The 50-30-20 rule, also known as the 50-30-20 budget, is a term coined by Senator and former presidential candidate Elizabeth Warren in her book All Your Worth: The Ultimate Lifetime Money Plan. The 50-30-20 rule is very simple. You can break down your take-home or net income into three categories: needs, wants, and savings debt repayment. Each of those categories should account for a certain percentage of your earnings. Under the 50-30-20 rule, needs should account for no more than 50% of your earnings. A need is an expenditure you can't avoid. These include basic utilities, childcare, groceries, housing, insurance, and transportation. Now, what about things that make life worth living? Things like cell phone service, dining out, internet service, and gym memberships. The 50-30-20 rule would categorize these things as wants. Many people might define wants as extras that make your life easier but aren't needed to live. The plan calls for you to allot 30% of your spending on your wants. These would also include entertainment, monthly subscriptions, and travel. Lastly, the 50-30-20 rule requires that the other 20% of your net income be devoted to your savings and debt repayment. This would include activities like building an emergency fund, funding a retirement plan, and paying all debts you might owe. Comment below and let me know what are some of the wants and lifestyle choices you'd like to spend your money on. Problems with the 50-30-20 rule. The 50-30-20 rule is a very good budget for those of us just getting started in personal finance. Its beauty is in its simplicity. However, it does have some problems that should be addressed. Broad spending on wants. The 50-30-20 rule allows for broad spending on one's wants. This can make it easy for the less disciplined among us to spend at or beyond our means. Other budget plans tend to call for a tightening of the purse strings. However, the 50-30-20 budget provides the opportunity for clever categorization of miscellaneous spending as quote-unquote wants. For example, TheStreet.com cites a report from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics stating that the median income in the United States in 2019 was $48,672. If this is true, that would mean that the median monthly income is $4,056 per month. For the sake of this exercise, let's assume that this is all net income. This would mean that the 50-30-20 rule allows for $1,216 to be spent on a person's wants every month. In my opinion, this money could be better spent on wealth creation. Insufficient spending on debt repayment. That brings me to my next point. The 50-30-20 rule, as prescribed, doesn't have much of a focus on debt repayment. This may work out well for those of us who have no debts outside of our mortgages. However, Experian.com suggests that the average American has a debt of $78,459, not including mortgages, $203,296, or home equity lines of credit, or HELOCs, $45,191. Keeping in line with our previous example, if the median income in the United States is $4,056 per month, the 50-30-20 rule will only allow for $811 to be spent on debt repayment. This means, barring interest, this hypothetical American would take 97 months to pay his or her $78,459 of debt. The 50-30-20 rule and 401ks. Some have asked, does the 50-30-20 rule include the 401k many employers offer? The widely accepted answer is yes. Your company's 401k very comfortably fits under the savings category in the 50-30-20 budget. Remember that the budget asks you to save 20% of your income. It would be in an employee's best interest to ensure that they save in their employer's 401k program at least up to the company match if offered. Once the company match is met, you may then put any money that remains in your savings budget into your emergency fund. Improvements to the 50-30-20 rule. As I previously stated, the 50-30-20 rule is a good beginner-friendly budget. I think it could be a great long-term budget if there was a key tweak made on how one's income is to be assigned. I would suggest keeping spending on one's needs at no more than 50% of net income. This is a solid rule that doesn't require much tweaking, if any. I would switch the percentage of the budget allocated to wants versus savings and debt repayment. In my opinion, it would be more financially responsible to spend 30% of one's income on savings and debt repayment and 20% on wants. I believe it's this kind of financial belt tightening that makes having a budget commendable. This means that, under the Smart Money 50-30-20 rule, the average American with a median monthly income of $4,056 per month would set 30% of that money, or $1,216 per month, toward becoming debt-free. Without factoring in considerations like interest, this allows for the user of my revised 50-30-20 rule to pay his or her $78,459 of debt in only 65 months, making her debt-free in nearly 3 years sooner. The 50-30-20 rule is a very good beginner-friendly budget. It allows a person who finds it difficult to stick to a budget to manage their money successfully. The budget allocates 50% of one's earnings to their essentials, 30% to their wants, and 20% to their savings and debt repayment. The rule works well, but can use some adjusting. One adjustment I'd make is to switch the percentages for wants and savings and debt. In my opinion, it's better to spend more of your money on wealth building than on fun and entertainment. Are you looking to go from deep in debt to debt-free and investing but don't know how? If you're a YouTuber or are considering starting a YouTube channel and you like my editing style, click the link in the description to get a free trial of my software. Check out these videos on your screen on how to improve your finances. If you like this video, hit the like button. It helps out a lot. Be sure to subscribe and share the video with your friends. Check the links in the description for offer information. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.